showing us how to do magic tricks. Not a napkin around anywhere. No. Let's try and find it. Okay, here I am. I got a little off track this morning. Scott Adams was showing us how to do a magic trick. He actually showed 2 magic tricks, which I was really impressed with. So I'll show you one of them because I think I can pull it off. Okay, and we'll see how it goes. This will not be part of the saved presentation. Okay, so you take a napkin. This will have to reasonably represent a napkin. Crumple it up into a ball. Okay, got it? See it there? See? Okay. And now we take that. He says it works with people that aren't too smart, so probably marketing people, and children. Okay, so now we take that, and we put it inside of our hand. Okay, got it? Got it right here? See, there it is. Got it? Ready? Now, we're going to make it disappear. Ready? I didn't do it very well. You got to move it farther, I think. We'll try it again. Okay, we'll take this thing. This won't work either. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to have to practice. I have to move it much more. It doesn't even work on screen here. That was better. Okay, so I have to practice some. It's probably better when I'm standing up. Oh. I've completely blown today here. We've completely blown it. It's like 8 after. I know it's terrible. We're going to go over here and see if it's working. And I'm trying to do this, see if it's working on another platform on my phone, which I showed you the other day. But chill, it's Friday. We're going to have a lot of fun. My 10-minute window is just going to kaflooey. Okay, there it is. Looks like it's working. It's got a title. I've learned how to fix the titles. Forgot to do my hair. Oops. See, this thing is backwards, and so if I'm not careful, I do bad things to myself, which I just did. That's okay. One of the tricks in live streaming is not to care too much how you come off. Time to stop. Yeah, okay, dismiss. Time to stop already. No, we're not stopping. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that if you're on here early. Only the early people get the crazy. Okay, so nobody seems to be on, so that's fine. Or I can't see them. That's one of the problems with this thing is I just can't see them. And there's no way once you get on here, there's no way to get over to the proper place on this thing. But I can tell if the talking is working. So we'll probably, I did the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll probably cut that out too. And I read this really great article that turned out not to be that great. And it was long. And so I was stuck in it. Anyway, you don't care about all the technical issues. Okay, so let's look at some holiday cheer. I was hoping for this. Frito-Lay does some great commercials, especially Doritos does great commercials. But right off the bat, it was just over the top. And I read about the commercial and the making of the commercial, and they said it's over the top. And look at all the decorations and all this sort of thing. And we can play a little of it here. Look at this house. It's just completely ridiculous.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Bright yellow Lay's bags and noses frostbitten.
And of course, bright yellow isn't. They should have at least said bright yellow Fritos or something. I don't care about the bag. It was poorly written. And then, there's this sort of perfect costumes, perfect diversity. I've never been to anything like it. and I just disconnected. Oh, snack table spread that's fit for a king. You can't see that.
Snack table spread that is fit for a king.
Yeah, or queen. So they got to put that in, the gender balance and the diversity and all that. So I didn't like it. And it turns out that was on purpose, but I don't think it's going to, who knows. Sometimes with big brands, they just want to be out there. Hi, Jerry. They just want to be out there in person and putting their name out. But let's go to this. This one is Aldi, and I like this one better.
In dark village square, an angry mob shouts because Christmas before Kevin was all about sprouts.
Kevin the carrot. Sprouts and kale, and I don't like any of that. And the tomato has teeth.
Great work, Tiny Tom. Come on, Tommy, catch up. Sprouts have gone and Kevin's here.
So Kevin's here. I was wondering when people drop in on this thing. I see people dropping in, and I think, what do they think of this?
What's that flying over me? Reindeer? So come on, let me entertain you. Roast that turkey till it's bronze. Prop me with your serving prongs. The oven's on, so don't belong. So come on, let me entertain.
Time to blast off.
And there's the star on top of the tent with the Brussels sprouts stuck to it. And all these logos in there, but not very much. So, I think they should have put Aldi in there more. But if you're going to use CG, I mean, like in the Frito-Lay commercial, there's fake, what do you call it? Steam. I guess you say that, even though it's not really steam. Condensation coming out of the singer's mouth because she's outside. Everything about it is fake. It's 100% fake. And I really like Cheetos. I like Doritos. I just love that stuff. But I'd rather see some good recipes or something like that. Anyway, let's get on to more serious issues here. And there we go. I'm getting better with running this thing at least. Except that put that there. Okay, so I wanted to talk about Google micro-targeting. But first, let's talk about attention spans. Oops, are they shrinking? No, they're evolving. And I thought this was really good. Carly Faircloth, absolutely right. Yesterday I wrote to a beekeeper. I've been watching beekeeping videos. I saw this flow hive a couple of years back, and I thought I could have a beehive in my backyard. And this guy the guy thought the same thing. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And so I've been watching the saga of him trying to build this beekeeping yard. And, the first year, like, almost all of his bees died, and he had to start over the winter, and he had to start completely over. And my barber, it turns out, was a beekeeper. And he said it's a lot harder in Wisconsin because it gets cold. But people do it in Sweden and Norway, and, bees are all over the place. And so I figure there must be a way. So this guy's gotten better and better, and he's really, his bee yard has expanded. But I noticed he's probably in his late 30s, early 40s, and he's hefting these beehives around all the time. And I thought, I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like lifting up probably a 40 or 50 pound box of bees and honey and all that sort of thing. You'd think if I could get them all to fly at once, it would be lighter. But it doesn't work that way. And so I wrote him the other day, and he said, try horizontal. Look into horizontal hives. And it turns out there's a way to build a sort of a permanent box and just put the frames in and out, which makes perfect sense. It's not hard at all. And so, okay, that's what I might do. See what they cost and all that. Anyway, so I was just fascinated and plugged into, I was up till 1 a.m. learning about horizontal hives instead of the traditional. And so my attention span, my wife thought I had ADD, and I told her I'm always paying attention to something. The problem is sometimes it's in my head. So the issue isn't really that consumers have a short attention span, as Carly rightly points out, she said, consumers haven't lost their attention span. Look at a kid binge playing some game, right? Or we've been binge watching episodes of Jeopardy. I want to watch them enough so that I have some of the answers memorized, and when the kids come over, I can beat the crap out of them. Now they're on Netflix or something, Amazon or something. Okay, but the real answer is that consumers are better at disengaging at a far quicker rate. Like on that Doritos commercial, I just disengaged when she put "or Queen." Like, it's bad enough what they did to the song, but then to put in this patronizing diversity junk, and check all the boxes. We got to have this. We got to have this. Well, the perfect commercial has to have all these things in it. No, it doesn't. Look at Aldi. It's just stupid. It's a stupid carrot. Have a little fun, Have a little fun. Don't make it so serious. Anyway, so we have about a 400 millisecond deselection efficiency. And I thought this was a good point, too. That 5-second countdown to skip ad can feel like an eternity. Absolutely. Absolutamente. Now, here's where I don't necessarily agree. Authentic, hyper personalization. You don't know what's in my head. You don't know that I'm interested in horizontal beekeeping. Let's just go for nice, humorous. Mention the product. We're aiming at such wrong things. Chill. And she actually mentions, think of Doritos, another level campaign, which applies to Gen Z consumers to reject traditional brand activities. Okay, well, the other one is totally everything in it is product placement all over the place. So anyway, I agree with you in large measure until you get to what should we do next. Here was another interesting thing. You want a new job? Here's a company that guarantees undervalued employees a 30% raise on their cost of living adjusted income, providing they're willing to relocate. I thought that was fantastic because one of the hot topics at the NMOA conference, CMO CEO breakfast, has been the last couple of years, how do you get people to move to whatchamacallit, Wisconsin? How do you get them to do it? And there's a lot of things, a lot of suggestions. But this is one I didn't hear. And a lot of times these companies do pay a bit of a premium. And if you here's the kicker. Here's the real kicker. Cost of living adjusted income. This article misses this point, I think. Okay, so if you go live in whatchamacallit, Wisconsin, and you want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, nice home on a quarter-acre lot, you can probably get that for like $150,000, right? Try to get that in New York City or California, Bay Area, and it's $1 million. Now, you might run into trouble when you try to move out of there, but if you get a company that fits your talent stack and gives you some genuine marketability outside of that area, a lot of times in the TV news business, it's hard to get a job. You're not going to start at New York City. So people go to whatchamacallit, Wisconsin, and they get on TV for a while. And if they're good, then they get discovered. They got a good reel. They get to put up a good reel, and then they go other places. Well, think about that same thing. If you're in marketing and you're starting out and you're not sure, do you want a low-level, nothing job and be stuck there in New York City? Or do you want to go to whatchamacallit, work for Newskis, and learn some real powerful lessons about direct marketing, about analysis, about data, about customer satisfaction, and about making sausages. Never mind the lunches they have there. Every now and then on Thursdays they have like barbecues and stuff for the employees or guests if they drop in. I'm meaning to go there on a Thursday, although it's like a 4-hour drive for me. But anyway, so think about this. This is a heck of a deal. So you may not make 30% more if you move to Newskis, but you might make 30% more cost of living adjusted income because the cost of living is so low. You see that? Does that make sense? Right? But you might be happier. A friend of mine who was getting out of college and wanted to become a doctor, and I had a bunch of friends who became doctors, but this guy all of a sudden is driving a brand new car. And I said, "Hey, Jim, what happened?" He said, "Oh, I made a deal with the Army." I said, "What's that?" He said, "They're going to pay for med school and they give me a signing bonus, which is how I got my nifty new car. And so I don't have to worry about the money and the student loans for going to med school like everybody else. But I have to go in. When I get done with med school, I'm not sure if he actually went into the Army. I think he went to ROTC or something. But when he got done with med school, he had to go to rural Kentucky. I think it was rural Kentucky, and be an OBGYN because he didn't have any. Okay, someplace he would never think of moving. It turned out he loved it. He's been there the whole time. I don't see him much anymore because he just loves it. But this makes tons of sense. So if you're looking to recruit people to Wisconsin, you may want to get in touch with this San Francisco startup. What is the name of it? Placement. I guess it's Placement. That's the name of the company. Okay, if you're looking to move people to weird places that have low cost of living, this may be the solution for you. And if you're sick of the urban, big cities are great if you're a multimillionaire. If you're not, it's not quite so fun. Now, I want to get to one more. I want to get to that Google article, okay? Will Google retreat from micro-targeted political ads? Now, this is a big story. And we touched on it a couple of weeks ago when it was Facebook or Twitter or somebody was talking about banning micro-targeting. The reason this is interesting, for a couple reasons. One was, if you read my article on Did Direct Marketing Swing the Election, you know that Brad Parscale and Trump on Facebook did an enormous amount of micro-targeting. And they were able to figure out what message different places mattered to different places. I don't know what level you can go down to, but you can understand that the border states might be concerned about illegal immigration. I can understand that. I don't know if it's true. You might be concerned in Minnesota about chain immigration. Whatever that's called. That's called where, some people come from a country and then all their relatives come and et cetera, et cetera. I don't understand it. I have to admit. But I know that when you go to neighborhoods, now there are neighborhoods where you get a very different look. It's not the typical Swedish, blonde, blue-eyed Norwegians or whatever, Scandinavian. In every neighborhood in Minnesota, like it was probably when I was a kid when I'd go up there. So whether that's good or bad, some people care about it. We don't have that where I live because we just never, I don't know why, but we weren't targeted as an immigration hotbed. I know a kid who walked. He's now in his mid-30s. Nice, great guy, but he literally walked across the border as a mid-teen, young teen, and ended up in Rochester, Minnesota with a couple of Mexican friends. And now he's an accountant. I mean, he's a great guy. He's married. He comes to our church. Our church is probably the most diverse place you'll ever be, but that's another story. But part of the reason this makes sense is theoretically, now campaigns can't match their database of prospective voters with any of Google's platforms. The fear is that you can tell different stories. You can say to people in Wisconsin, I'm in favor of concealed carry, let's say. That's kind of extreme side of, everybody should carry a gun. I'm in favor of that. And then you go to the urban high education geodemographics and say, I think all guns should be banned. We should confiscate all guns. And you can kind of, on digital, you can kind of say both things. And both demographics might cheer. And unless somebody goes on Twitter and finds out that, unless somebody compares this stuff, and how are you going to compare it? I might never see the part that says you're in favor of concealed carry. I might only see the part that says you want to confiscate guns, and I think yay, and I don't look any farther, right? Whereas if it's on TV, you don't know who's seeing it. Everybody's seeing it. It's a conversation. It tends to build a more consistent picture of your real brand, which is another idea in mass media. So I think I'm kind of in favor of this. I don't know, what kind of crazy mischief can happen, but I think it's probably a good thing. Now, the other interesting part is, unlike Twitter, who said we're going to ban all political ads. Now, after that, but if I do a post and I talk about what Joe Biden said or Donald Trump said, and then I boost my own post, that's not a political ad, my own tweet, I don't think. There's all kinds of mischief potential in that total ban of political ads. But this is actually a lot more workable because it keeps everybody more honest, because a broader segment will see the ad. You got one good ad that goes in front of everybody, and it keeps the conversation genuine. So I really think that's good. And I also applaud just the idea that we need to do something. But I don't like the idea of, Google's going to sit in judgment and decide which ads are real and which, we should ban them all, or we should just ban these, because I don't think that I don't think anybody has a corner on the truth. That's the point of the First Amendment. Yeah, you're going to get some crazy. Yeah, you're going to get some stuff that's offensive. You're going to get some stuff you don't agree with. That's the point of the First Amendment. If the First Amendment isn't about offensive speech, then it's not about anything, right? It's clearly about religious speech. And one of the reasons that that's in there explicitly is because people are offended by religion. If I think putting a tomato on my head is going to get me to heaven, that's going to offend some people. And, or if I think I have to go to this kind of church, or I think that nobody should go to church and you should just meditate, whatever it is, we all disagree. And that's why the First Amendment is about offensive speech. So I kind of suspiciously applaud Google, and I think this might be the only good solution. Now, if you're upset with Google, try mail. You can still target. You may not be able to target as tightly, but maybe you can. Have a great day. Have a good weekend. I'm John Mick.